We're at Irwindale Saturday. Top 32 just went by. Here was Nate Hamilton. I wanted to ask him some questions. More or less, he's been in the industry forever, from grassroots to FD. How long ago was that now?
I mean, at home, I got some trophies from 2010.
Now you went to spend like the last 2-3 years kind of doing all the PR, grid life, all the fun events, and getting back into the fun drifting side of things. Not saying FD's not fun, but there's a lot more stress on this kind of stuff than there is just going to grid life and have fun with the boys.
Yeah, the quick run of show was like industrial parks drifting in the rain, and then ran through XTC Extreme Drift Circuit, and then went pro basically 2014 to 2017, and then thought around 2018 to 19 I would do my own grassroots tours. And then I've been really just kind of running the show since then, as far as just like where I want to go every year changes. It's been fun that way.
And now you're kind of getting a whole nother look into drifting, working with Forsberg, overwatching all that. What have you seen from the year, like when you started coming to FD and being a part of it, to now overlooking everything? Like, what are the main changes you're seeing?
I mean, I definitely think like, you know, sponsorship and marketplace is always up and down, right? There's always really good seasons and then really like lean seasons. So that's kind of a normal business ebb and flow. I feel like the drivers, there's definitely guys like Chris, right? Shout out, that are just very consistent and never give up. There's guys like me who come in and out of the sport. So,
but you haven't really left. Like you've been comp to fun, like you had like family, so that kind of makes the competing side more hard, like when you start.
Yeah, but like I really want to compete. It's just.
Would you go back, or do you have more fun at grassroots and stuff that way?
Man, I guess I really want to do both, right? Like I want to do the fun stuff and compete for a championship, and I just haven't put the program together because if I could only do one or the other right now.
So Megan and I actually, like, well, I was trying to find you earlier, had like a big talk. It kind of leans toward this, kind of doesn't. I was saying how everyone always says find what you love and run with it. I agree and disagree at the same thing. I was explaining like snowboard. I did that for 6 years teaching, but I loved it all as a child. And then once I started teaching, I found that I was going there for the full day teaching, and after all my friends were riding, I'm like, I want to go home. So like it sometimes takes the passion out of it. And I feel, not knocking anyone, but I feel like sometimes here you see it in the pitch too. Like all the guys that started just as fun, and then once you get to this, it does kind of knock the passion out of it, I find, because I feel like it's also budgeting. Like it is like you don't get as many fun events when you're putting blood, sweat, and tears into 8 rounds full time.
Yeah, but I also feel like at any, you know, pinnacle of any sport, it's like, where do you go from here? What's next? And you know, so like there's that element of like, this is the pinnacle of drifting in America.
100%.
And so when you make it to this level, it'd be more about refining your program and trying to feed your family than it would be like looking for what's next.
Yeah, so I have like a mad respect for Dylan Hughes, who we just sat down at the pod with like Thursday, just because like I feel like he's found that sweet spot almost where he's got this, like his program isn't that big. Like he's got his dad as a spotter, he's got Carlos and Evan there, and his mom goes to every event and stuff, and he puts on an amazing program, and he still does the grid life and has fun, and I think that's like a great balance of it, and he found a way to do that all and make a living from doing it. So I think my thing was more or less the drivers that their whole season is they got those 8 rounds, and I think that's where it almost takes it, because those 8 rounds are stressful rounds. They're not like, you're not going for the fun of like grid life. You find it's literally, you get on it, it's touring with the boys, you have no responsibilities of, oh, if I lose this battle, I'm just here for the rest of the thing. So I think that's where the misconception kind of is on it. Like,
I mean, it makes sense, right? It's like a lot of the guys, so behind the scenes, right, a lot of the guys either run a business to go drifting, or like Dylan, you know, he's able to operate his shop plus do the grid life and Formula Drift. So it is really taxing if you're only doing 8 rounds of Formula Drift and that's all you can do, because the seat time.
And I find the stress with being here, like, yes, it's fun, you're still like, everyone here is friends, like have a great time, like what we do when we shut down after, like everyone just comes together and has fun. But I just feel like it's during the week where it's like, okay, we're loading in, like we have to do this, like if not, like you're.
I also feel like there's an element of Formula Drift where it's like, how and why did I win? And I think the sport just continuing to grow and refine itself will help the drivers feel, how do you word, like how to win, right? Like how do you win?
Each driver here has a competitive mindset.
Right.
So like you don't get that when you go into grid life.
Well, there's not lap times,
Yeah.
there's not data. You can kickflip, I can kickflip, we both kickflip. Who had more style?
Yeah.
Who's to say you have more style? But yeah, I wanted to shout out FDF obviously for this video, but I did develop a GR86 and it's been so fun to drive. We put the kit on, and for the first year, I've made very little changes to the actual like adjustments that I can change.
Yeah.
And I've just been getting used to the chassis. So next year, I do want to compete in it, and I do want to really tweak and work with the rear end. And but yeah,
You're that voice, just come back to FD.
dun dun dun.
Maybe. But yeah, like that was almost like this is almost your first season with the GR. You've done a lot of events up in Canada and everything with it.
Yep.
I know there was some hiccups in Canada, like motor and stuff like that.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
other than that, how are you liking it compared to like you were an S chassis boy forever?
Dude, I jumped in. I went from an S chassis to the 86, and it was like same.
Oh.
It felt so similar. I remember the first time I drove it thinking like, why am I so comfortable? But like
Right.
I still have like barely spun out in it. Like it's really, really predictable. Your kit was like throw it on and go. And yeah, really from there, like I did 1 year building it, 1 year of testing it, and here we are looking to compete next year. In something.
In something.
In some series.
In something. Yeah, FD, no spoilers here. My last question before I let you go back to your whole crew over here.
Yep.
Another big question that we kind of get is in the forums, like you see on forums, like emails I get, everyone's looking to build an FD car. Do you think that's taking away from the grassroots side of things? Because it feels like any shootout you go that's not even FD, you're against cars that are FD cars. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know, man, because like you want to be a pro, so you gotta act like a pro, right?
Yeah.
Like I think the guys are trying to build pro cars to prepare to be pro, and I don't really see anything wrong with that.
Like, I know the Gambler at least does a good way of, like, they split it up. So you're not showing up to an event and going, oh, like, it's just any car forever.
Yeah.
They got the 235
Yeah.
and they have a limit. So I like the way they do it, but I feel like some events still don't do that. So you show up and you're like, oh, I want to compete, but like the only round around them is compete, but you are 800 horsepower down the road.
And
So
that's
it's, like,
what's so
very hard there. I think we need more grassroots classes.
Absolutely. Like Clutch Kickers was a good example of like bring whatever you want, run whatever you want. And that was fun for the time being.
I'm pretty sure there was a dude with like a pretty much stock 350 with nitrous, and it would go up against like Josiah, and I'm like, I feel bad. Like, just
That's why like I'm actually struggling, meaning like where would you run a speckish drifting series that allows for a level playing field, and maybe there's 5 rounds you can win
Yeah.
a championship? Like I'm struggling to know where to compete other than Formula Drift, because everything is like kind of,
I mean,
random like that.
yeah, like I know, like, well, you're in Texas, that's the other hard thing, because I know like another series that does a good hot pits.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they're big cars like that, like they're built cars,
Yeah.
like Ben Hobson's conceded there and everything like that. But like I know Dylan's brought his E36 out there. But everyone out there is doing that because it is a license here.
Yes.
That is.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's one of those.
Like, that is a
toss-ups.
good place to
Same
be
with
that feeds-
East 10 or whatever it is.
Yep,
I
yep.
know a few people that compete over there.
Yep.
So like you're kind of getting into it where like those are the great comps and like those are FD cars.
Yep.
But you're getting an FD license where I feel like we just need more. I don't know if you agree with this. More grassroots where like
Yeah.
you're not competing for an FD license, so the FD
Yep.
cars aren't there. Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So listen, comment below where I should compete in the GR86, because I need to find a home.
Close to Texas or anywhere?
Anywhere.
Okay.
Wherever you guys think it would be cool to see it. Now that we got the FDF stuff all dialed in, the car's healthy, I'm ready to do some drifting next year.
Yeah.
We rolled it
You're
out.
trying to drift rush cars at Laguna.
Ah!
Yeah, of course.
Dude, Rush is addicting. We gotta make some arms for that.
Oh, that would be sick. Josiah, you know what to do.
Cheers.
Awesome.